What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Extreme Lifestyle Living. I'm your host, Trey, and then today we have lovely guest Spencer Boyd. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
Good, man. So for all the viewers and listeners out there, give a brief introduction of who Spencer Boyd is.
I guess born and raised in Halifax. Grew up here my whole life. Went down to St. Avex, played some football down there.
Dope.
Down there, I found my passion for fitness, and then we're back here. Worked for a corporation for a few years. Well, I guess 6.5, and now doing my own thing.
That's exciting as hell. So you said you found your passion in St. Avex. Did you grow? So you said Halifax, though. Like, what part of Halifax? I didn't know you grew up in Halifax. I thought it was Dartmouth.
No. Fairview.
Oh,
Fairview
wow. So
kid.
just down the road. Just down there. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's dope. So did you ever live in Dartmouth?
No, never.
Are you big? Do you like Dartmouth, or is it? Are you like, how is the vibe?
It's always a stigma. It's always a stigma between Halifax and Dartmouth. But it's like, actually, I think it's a nice area. Get into some places like I think Woodlawn's a nice area. Where Channing lives is a nice area.
That's true. Yeah, that's bias. He's your friend.
Yeah,
Shout out
that's
Channing.
true.
Shout out Channing. Love you, buddy. But so football at St. Avex, because I want to talk about the transition of, like you said, you found your passion with fitness in football and down at St. Avex. But obviously, you didn't just jump from grade 12 and you'd be like, I want to play university level football. You didn't play no sports and then jumped into that. So how'd that start? Did you start like in sports at a young age?
Yeah, 100%. I started playing hockey when I was like very young, like, probably like 4 or 5 years old. Oh, wow. I played like a number of different sports growing up, like lacrosse, played basketball.
So you're in everything.
I was in everything. I played basketball and football in high school, and then I had to choose which one am I better at. And I mean, Tyler Scott played with me, right? Or we played together in high school. And I was just like, okay, you see his skill level, and then you see your skill level. So I was like, okay, where am I going to go with this? So it's like, okay, football's my sport.
That's dope. What position did you play?
Defensive end.
That's dope. I don't know much about it. That's funny.
I always explain this. I was one of the bigger guys on the field.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a dope thing. That's how I remember you from, even like when I hung with Channing before, like because you were tall as fuck compared to everybody, and then you were always worked out and you were solid. Because that was the first time I met you, I think, was at Shannon's party like years ago.
Yeah. That was a minute.
That would have been like 2014, 2015.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
it was after university, so it probably was 2015.
Yeah, because that was when I was competing. Mm-hmm. I remember that's how we linked up, because you wanted to do a show, or you did a show at the time.
Yeah. Something
like that. But so how did you transition from picking football and then playing? You played all 4 years.
Yeah. I was on the team for 4 years, but I didn't play all 4 years.
Hey, whatever. We don't talk about that. We'll edit that part out. He was a star for 4 years. But over the 4 years, where does the passion come to? Okay, I'm playing sports and more of like regulatory fitness, if that's the right way to say it, to more of like your personal fitness in the gym and more of health?
I would say, I'm trying to think when I stopped playing football. I started playing football 2014, and then I was like 255 or something crazy like that. I can't even remember how much I weighed. But
so it started with like more of like a personal adversity.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, it's not great to be 255 for no reason. Yeah. Like, I wasn't playing sports anymore, so I didn't have to worry about a 300-pound offensive lineman trying to like body me. So I was like,
you're just going to the grocery store.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to do anything like that anymore. So I was like, okay, I got to lose the weight.
Yeah.
I always remember this because this was my turning point. I was walking to class, and I went up a flight of stairs, and then I was sweating and I was breathing heavy.
Oh, I was like, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I was like, it's over. I'm not doing that again.
That's actually that's powerful. Like for anyone listening, like, or even watching, like, for just to hear that like turning point, because that's the stuff I like to talk about. Is like that's the shit that, like, when you're like feel like you're failing in life, you think of that.
Yeah.
You'll wake up at 6 in the morning, and be like, you remember the time you get to the top of the stairs, and it's funny because that's actually how I changed my view on fitness, was going up a stairs analogy. Because when I was competing, I fucking was 8 to 12% body fat, looked phenomenal. Everyone was like, you are the definition of fitness.
Yeah.
I went upstairs. I got out of breath.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, I was like, maybe I'm not in shape. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, sure. I was like lean. I could bench a lot. I could squat, like, or deadlift, whatever the bullshit like maniac men do. But I couldn't run. And that's when I started looking at fitness like a whole lot different, because I was still in pain. I looked like I looked like Men's Health magazine, Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's like all I understood, but I felt like shit all the time. And like you said, like I got to the top of those stairs every day at work, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's crazy.
Your perspective on everything, right?
1,000,000%. But continue though. So you were like, okay, I'm not
that, and then I was like, okay, I gotta lose the weight.
Want to bring this a little bit because I just panicked that you're not gonna. I'm so scared about the audio, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So then I was like, okay, gotta lose the weight. I lost 30 pounds by doing like just simple changes.
What's like what would be a couple of simple changes for anyone listening? Because that's a lot of weight. You said 30 pounds and simple changes.
I guess I used to eat out a lot, so I stopped doing that. Started making more meals. Started switching to eating more veggies. And changed my workouts because it was always about like getting bigger, getting stronger.
Ego, more of
100%. Started doing a little bit more cardio, little different workouts. But other than that, it wasn't anything crazy. Like it wasn't like a drastic change, and you just lose that weight.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just do a competition. It's just like I had 90 days, and I was just like, I gotta lose another like 30 something pounds to get lean.
Yeah, and you did it all naturally too, right?
Yeah.
Which is 100% more credited to do that. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm going to talk about that a lot down the road in terms of that. I'm very, very open and honest about a lot of things. But not like for people listening, for like competing, for you to do it naturally is a big fucking thing. Because locally here, and I don't really care who gets offended by it, no one's natural. And if you're not doing a natural show, then a lot of people aren't natural. For you to go up against these guys knowing that these guys are doing this stuff, because it wasn't a natural show you did, right?
No, it wasn't. I'm trying to think what I did. It was in New Brunswick.
Atlantics.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that was my first show.
Yeah.
That was my first show. Yeah, that's not natural at all. So for you to go there and tackle that and take that on the chin, phenomenal. Yeah. Kudos. No, seriously, kudos, because that's like, no, that's dead ass serious. Like it's just like it's tenfold different. You're it's like you're a basketball player going to play football that day.
Yeah,
it's literally what it is.
It was eye opening because I can remember I saw a guy that I went to high school with, and then he wasn't like too open about it, but he's like, yeah, this sport gets expensive. I was just like, what? What do you mean by expensive?
Yeah.
And like I was completely clueless.
Yeah.
And then he said supplements, and I was like,
yeah.
Still didn't even think about it. And then I didn't understand what he meant until like a couple of years later.
Literally, yeah. And I'll have it's funny because I have an episode coming out about my whole story about how because that is my downfall of the gym. Is that whole segue of going down a supplement road, and it's crazy. That's why I wanted to take a notice, because for you to do it naturally is fucking insane. You're already, when you're going to lose. Like, you're going to lose against it. So you got to be in it for the right reason.
100%.
So that's why it's so that's why I got to give you kudos for that, because anyone listening, they just look at these people that are competing and they put them on such a high pedestal. And it's not even, and I'm not saying they don't need to be on a high pedestal, because taking extra supplements, because I get offended when people are like, oh, you took supplements before.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, I work fucking hard. So so there's a lot of stigma around it. So I don't want to sit there and say anyone that's taking supplements doesn't deserve the credit. But there is a very fine line where people are compensating those for hard work.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing I want to pay attention to, because you didn't fucking cut that corner. And there's so many people that do cut that corner that. Not exactly why I said on here I want to gas you up and do that, because there's another guy I want to bring on here too, that anyone that's like completely natural and openly talking about it, that's actually fucking going on with these hard ass courses and taking on like I watch you, all the mobility, all the extra learning, all the extra education, the time, the detail, because you want to make sure your ligaments and your tendons don't fucking tear.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's crazy because that stuff doesn't matter as much when you're taking all the supplements, because it just kind of handles itself. So it's like, yeah, I just had to give you a shout out. But yeah, man. So literally, it's crazy. You just cut out eating out, which saves fucking a lot of money.
Yeah.
You just start eating greens more, and then switch from ego lifting, sort of like only lifting you know how to do, aka like programming for the sport, to just more cardio, and magically, that starts the journey.
Yeah, 100%.
So how much weight did you lose? So you lost 30 pounds at the beginning.
I lost 64 in total.
Fuck, man. So you lost 30 by yourself, and then competing for the 90 days, you lost another 30.
Yeah, it was crazy. I lost a lot of weight, and it was just like, it's a drastic weight loss.
Yeah.
And at the time, like, competing I don't do this anymore because I don't believe it works.
Yeah.
But it's always like follow a meal plan.
Yes.
And whatnot. And it's great for the sport. Like, you need to do that if you're like MMA, wrestling, boxing, or you're doing bodybuilding. Like, you need to follow like a plan like that. Yeah. But for your lifestyle, it doesn't really work.
Couldn't agree more.
You just don't learn how to eat properly.
Yeah.
Or the mental aspect of it.
No,
so
seriously.
It's like, as soon as that happened, I like rebounded. I gained 50 pounds again. Then I lost the weight again when I did another show, but I still didn't learn it.
Yeah.
So it's just like I was compensating the whole time.
Yeah.
But
I can relate to that a lot because like my first show, when I did Atlantics for my first time, I'll never forget it because the girl I was dating at the time, she was like, holy shit, like look how lean you are so quick. And then literally after I got off stage, I ate like 2 half-pound Reese's Pieces. We went to Boston Pizza, The next day, I remember I woke up, got out of bed, whatever, and like I just like didn't think nothing of you, just because you don't think, you're just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Where's your abs?" And I was like, remember going in the mirror, and I was like 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, "Holy fuck!" And then literally by the end of April, because the show was at the beginning of April, I was up 30 pounds.
It's crazy.
Because you just stop your cardio and you stop your eating, and no one tells you that, like, hey, like, what's reverse dieting?
Yeah.
Or
100%.
metabolic damage.
Yeah.
And then you're just sitting there like, and I feel like going back to the mental health part of it, that was the hardest. Because like you said, like losing the weight again, getting stuff done, it's like, it's just constantly like this back and forth tug that you're having mentally, because it's like when you look your best, you feel your best mentally, but you still have your demons. But then your demons are at the forefront 3 weeks later when you're 30 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kind of get confused because you're like, well, like then you lose the weight again and you're back in the same spot and you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I actually, this year was the first year, like with Emma, that I stopped tracking everything. Like, it's crazy because, like, I'm lean as fuck all the time. I'm usually, like, I got to eat junk food to, like, not be lean or, like, anything because my metabolism is so high I'm conditioned that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, since 2014 when I did my first program and I lost 30 pounds in 2 months, I haven't stopped eating that way. So I'm going on, like, almost, like, 8-9 years of, like, strict as fuck eating because I don't know any different. Because before then I ate junk food all the time. I was eating out all the time. I was eating like drinking 2 liters of Pepsi a day, drinking every weekend. And when I changed, like I can't even drink pop anymore. I can't, like sugars. Like sugars like blow my brain up because like I went from like eating so unhealthy from such a young kid to 20 that like since I changed it, like I can't even go back to it. But the mental health aspect of it, I can't eat. I had a lot of trouble eating like pastas because what's all in that?
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Big foods that had like a lot of calories or different ingredients, I would be like freaking out about. Like, you know what I mean? I was like so hyper aware of like olive oils versus butter versus sprays. Like, and it's like, it's so crazy. True. And it's like, you're not focusing on the right avenues of your health. And then you're missing time with your friends because you're like, can I drink? Can I not drink? Can I go to wing night? Can I not?
Yeah.
And then it's like the whole time you're doing this, you're not even doing it right.
You're right.
So you're literally 100%. Just wasting your time.
100%.
So how did you learn to become, like, I guess, like the tier of a coach, personal trainer you are now from that transition? Like, because obviously mentally that would be like a lot of success, but again, mentally you're like, this is not it.
Yeah. So after that first show, I was like, you know what? I liked it. Lost a bunch of weight. I had a crazy amount of messages from people after I did my show. Like, I can remember like 50-something messages from people.
Can we stop for once? How does that feel? Not in a weird way, because I remember when I won my show, like won ECC.
Yeah.
I walked backstage by myself and I went out and like having all these messages, like, holy fuck. Like, I remember going to the gym and someone was like, yo, you won this? I had no clue who this person was. She's like, you won. And like, how does that play mentally? Because you still feel the same. You know what I mean? Like, you still know how much work you need to do and how like upsetting almost how you feel with yourself behind closed doors. I mean, I'll talk for myself because like, I mean, when I won, I was like, I feel like I won, but I feel like I didn't win.
Well, see, I lost. I lost.
Well, I guess I don't mean like winning the show. I mean like more so like winning the battle yourself. Like you still got it to the stage. You still did it. You dried out. You leaned out. You carved up. You played the mental games, and it's like you get the messages in the rewards, but it's like I still don't feel good.
It was. I would say. Well, for me, it's like I lost the weight, huge win, but when people asked me to coach them, I was like, I don't really know how to coach them. Because I just did my program for myself. Yeah. And it was just like, I didn't know what I was doing, how to actually do like a lifestyle coach type of thing. So even though that happened, I was like, okay, let me get a personal training course in. Did that. Then I think after that, I think I left university right after that. And then went right to the gym that I started working at for 6.5 years. And then I realized it's not like that at all. Bodybuilding is its own different thing.
Oh, it's like, it's crazy. What bodybuilding is like, I'd say probably 10% of what the fitness industry actually is.
Yeah.
But it equates for like 80%.
100%.
That's just how I feel about it, because like I've loved bodybuilding. I never played no sports, and I tried for 3 years to stay away from it because of my demons and like the stuff I battled. But I'm always just gravitated back there because like that's my football, that's my basketball, that's my lacrosse, that's my golf and all that stuff. So, and I just know so much about it, and it's crazy. And I just kind of like took a personal vendetta to go get back into it to change a lot of that stigma, because I don't like how people like it's when we were competing. Yeah. It was, is it a sport? But now it's a sport.
Yeah.
You know, so like I feel like we have, like more so me because it was my sport, like just have that unique perspective on it. When I don't like when people call me a bodybuilder, because I'm not a bodybuilder. I just like to go to the gym. You know what I mean? That's strictly what it is. Because my journey was, if I can prove that I can change my physical, that I can change my mental. Yeah. That's the only reason why I ever went. I was just like, if I can physically see me change, then I know that's proof for my brain to change, because you can't see your brain. And that's all I started for. Yeah. And I never had no male masculinity around me, so I didn't know what the hell a male was supposed to be like. Yeah. But I knew it wasn't me, because I was just like smaller than everybody, weaker than everybody. Everyone played sports and stuff. But yeah, I think that's well, that was just my own little rant on that, honestly, just because it is, like you said, like when you started learning your courses and stuff, you're like, holy shit, there's so much more avenues to health and fitness and the coaching aspect of the world. So what was your next step?
So started coaching people.
Shout out to Bliss Caffeine Bar.
100%. Realized that that's not how, I guess, normal people need to be coached, if you will. Struggled coaching a little bit, but then I started making transitions. Took a course like Persistent Nutrition, which actually is nutrition coaching. So you actually learn on how to build habits with people, making those small changes, because when it comes to change, it's either someone wakes up one day and they have something significant happen in their life, like a health scare, or
something traumatic to kind of like really rattle them. Yeah. Breaks their reality.
Or then they have like those small incremental changes. So did that. I mean, I was pretty successful with weight loss clients. A lot of people don't know this, but like successful weight loss is like slow weight loss. And
because it stays away.
Yeah, it stays away.
It's I always talk about, it's like it's a marathon, not a sprint type thing. Yeah. And we were sprinting our fucking ass off for years.
100%.
We were like relay racers. Yeah. So like couldn't agree more.
Like losing 30 pounds in 3 months, that's crazy. So now realizing that, like I always tell my clients, like half a pound to a pound. Like a week is actually a pretty good goal. A pound a week is actually crazy. Yeah. So now, unless someone has a lot of weight to lose, like my clients usually average about 27 pounds a year.
They're losing it?
Yeah.
But that's sustainable, and they're not gaining that back.
Yeah, they keep it off. Yeah. I mean, my last client, now he had a lot of weight to lose, but he lost 44 pounds in 9 months. Yeah. And the only difference was portion control and switching what he ate.
Portion control is a big thing. Yeah. Like it's like a lot of people that I talk to about, like, how do you manage like just how you eat all the time? And it's like crazy because like small incremental changes to your portion control, even fasting windows. I know a lot of people that like, they're like, oh, I fast all the time. And they only say that because they just don't eat, and that's their excuse. But like on a realistic level, if they were to change their fasting levels just a little bit and increase their calories within that window, it would make the biggest difference for their actual fasting windows. Like it's crazy because it's like portion control. Let's just say if one guy decides to eat with his actual sizes versus his eyes for 1 week, he could lose up to a pound just with that. And then imagine adding the other aspect I just talked about. Yeah. Like there's 2 to 5 pounds right there. And then if you drink a lot of water and no sugar, there's up to 10.
100%.
And then most people are like, that's 10 pounds right there just because you just changed like 2-3 things. Yeah. And like it's just wild. But yeah, what else did you learn? Because I'm learning from you. So precision nutrition kind of gave you that aspect of. First of all, I want just to premise it this way. It gave you a strategy to use for you. You only understood bodybuilding and kind of the major starvation diet, I guess, essentially for the bodybuilding aspect of it. So when you took precision nutrition, you were like, oh, there's 47 other avenues I could talk about in terms of balance and health and incremental portions and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's why I was saying you personally elevated because of the knowledge you've learned from it, not the knowledge itself. That's what I was saying.
No, 100%. That's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. So did that, liked coaching people for weight loss, but then my own personal journey is I was still doing bodybuilding type workouts in the gym, and it just beat down my body. And it was it's not something that is going to, I guess, give you longevity. Yeah. You're always sore. You're just trying to lift heavy, trying to lift a lot of reps. So it's just, after years of not, I guess, having so much tension and stress in my body, I was like, okay, I got to change my life. So
did anything happen for you to be I need to change these type of workouts, or an injury or a moment, or is it just how you felt?
I tore my quad tendon doing split squats, and I was just like, okay, that's a wake-up call. Yeah. And then doing stuff like deadlifts, and I was like, it was hurting my back. I was doing a lot of exercises that were still bothering me. Had a knee injury. I'm still dealing with my knee injury. Ooh. So I'm just like, okay, I got to change my workouts. Yeah. I want to focus on just feeling better.
And what year was this? When did you start focusing on transitioning out of bodybuilding type stuff to more of health, wellness?
I would say the last 4 years of my career.
And did you start? How did it start? Did it start more of okay, I have injuries, injury prevention, or is it more of so I should start doing more cardio?
Definitely more injury prevention. It was if you're spending too much time on a chiro or physio table and you're not in the gym, that's
story of my life.
Yeah, it's you gotta switch up your priorities, right? Aesthetics is not everything.
No, and I think that's why I like to talk so much about that, because I changed my life with my aesthetics. Yeah. But I didn't give a fuck about them. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got all this attention, all this stuff. You look this, look that, and especially when I was taking extra supplements and I was the extra 10 pounds that I probably shouldn't have been. It was I would break people with how I looked. Yeah. And it's crazy because it doesn't fucking matter at all. I was so unhealthy. Actually, a lot of the times I was in the gym, I actually had an inguinal hernia. Do you know what I mean? So I was lean as hell, and fucking sitting there with a hernia, a hole in my abdominal wall. That's not healthy. But everyone's like, oh, you look great though. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy because that's exactly that's the exact same analogy as my story. I was going to the gym and I was just kept only did what I knew. And I was I have a lot of injuries from the car accident and stuff like that I have no fucking idea what about. And my actual injury was when I was benching. I actually tore my left pec. And I actually just benched, not Thursday, Wednesday was the first time I did chest. And I actually got a chest pump where it wasn't focusing on left shoulder stability or rehab. So that was 2017 I pulled my pec. And this is 2021. I'm just getting into it now because of how so many years of so many bad training. Yeah. I have so many imbalances, so many it's fucked. Yeah. And that's what my thing was, fascial stretch therapy, mobility, yoga. I just started diving into that. I would literally sit on the lacrosse ball for 3 hours a day. Yeah. I'd go home and I was because I remember after I tore my pec, I remember I was stretching and I put my hands above my head and I heard 47 cracks. Yeah. And I was that's not too good. And I remember I put my head back. I even have a little headache right now, just because I'm always having the neck pain from the accident. Yeah. But I remember I put my head back. And I can't do it now because it hurts. But I was leaning my head almost on my shoulders, and I was that feels better than when I'm standing up straight. And I was that's not good. No, and that's what kind of sparked mine was all right, bodybuilding. Let me stop watching so much Ronnie Coleman shit. Let me stop watching so much Phil Heath, Chris Bumstead, or these hardcore things, because social media portrays it as it has to be that way.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean? I was literally, it's funny because and this will come out down the road, but when I started my journey, and you're gonna test this if yours like this, when you started transitioning out of bodybuilding, and that's not even I don't even like the term bodybuilding. It's a more hypertrophy training. like more of like the aesthetic looking. Did you get a lot of judgment from your peers or close associates that were like, what are you doing?
I didn't.
Really?
I didn't really have to worry about that just because I wasn't really on the scene for that long.
Oh,
so
that's good. That's good though you didn't, because like I find like so many people to me were like why are you doing that? Like, why are you lacrosse? Like, what's the lacrosse ball gonna do?
Yeah.
Just fucking train. And it's crazy because for 2 years, man, I lost 30 pounds. I was 185, 188, and I went down to 163.
Yeah.
Or like 158 or something at one point, because like I just literally couldn't train. And like I just started doing yoga and mobility and all this time, but due to like my abuse on substance of like supplements and going to the gym for 7 years prior, I'm now just getting out the gate now. Like my right side is so dominant over my left side due to certain injuries that like I have to like it's crazy the amount of shit I got to do. Like my left side I can only like train at like 80% because the right side will overcompensate. And it's crazy the amount of like mental adversity that brings, because like going to the gym I used to just fuck it bench 3 times a week.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You could just fucking let's deadlift like once or do this or that. And it's like now like you go in and you're like like your knee. You're like, okay, I can't front squat today even though I want to fucking just jam it up. Like, okay, let me go and do like my fucking bird dogs for a little minute. Let me do my 90-90. Let me do my pigeon. Let me do my glute bridges. And then let me squat. And it's crazy because like your workouts go from very mentally enjoyable. I'm not saying they're not enjoyable, but like that whole transition I find, you can speak to it yourself in a second, but it was funny. I seemed like the gym was more of a hobby and you had fun in it. And then there's like almost a little bit where like I had to put my ego and arrogance aside and be like, all right, let me like educate myself on how I actually should come in here. And it's crazy because at the beginning I hated it.
Yeah.
Because you got to go in, you do your little bit of cardio, get your proper heart rate, get your proper blood flow, do your proper activation mobility, and then you train. For the first 6 months, you're like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And then all of a sudden, you have like a revelation where it's like, this all makes sense. Because then all of a sudden, you're hitting PRs with less effort than your old shit. And I think that's like, I mean, you can test your journey about transitioning into it, because what I was trying to say is now everyone's like, how'd you get here? To me personally. And it's like, how do you get like, because my shoulders are really healthy now. And I'm like, I'm trying to like, I want to like, even like, we'll maybe talk about it on here, but I want to be at Move East more with you and Liam to do more of these type of workouts and be part of it. Because I know a lot of shit about mobility. Yeah. Because I was fucked up. So I know more hands on. But it's just like, it's crazy how like now it's like, how'd you get it? How'd you do it? But during those transitions where you're like, you, instead of being in the limelight, you're going to add education to yourself to kind of come out in the limelight in a better person. There's just so much judgment because people don't understand. And on top of social media being like, if you do mobility and yoga, it's like you're not really a male figure doing crazy masculinity workouts. Yeah. Like, and it's not as bad as it used to be, but I don't know if you're going to attest to your transitions with that, because I feel like now, especially you, and that's why I want to shout you on this stuff, is like you're getting the respect you deserve now. But I feel like there was a transitional period where some people just don't give people the kudos that they deserve, because they're like they feel, I think it's because like insecurities, they feel inferior with some other people's education. But I mean, I'm just going on about it now, so I mean, you can just go, you can just chime in at any point.
So for me, like, I started focusing on, like, I started taking a lot more personal training courses, and I flew up to Toronto, and I did that for a number of years.
Yeah, because that's actually another place how we met was in Toronto when we were both up there on the award events and stuff like that. Because you were doing all the courses.
Yeah, and I mean, here on the East Coast, there's nothing really here to like educate people and like to propel them forward. Yeah. So like there's always that stigma, like, oh, you're from the East Coast. So it's like there's only a few of us that would go up there and like focus on education and whatnot. Yeah. Took a number of courses, took a low back pain course, started taking more mobility. And then I was just like, okay, this is how I feel. Like this is what I want to do, help myself out. And then I started helping my clients out. Because I was a higher level trainer at the gym I used to work at, I always used to get people that had, I guess, more difficult things to deal with, right? Yeah. So after that, people started feeling better, moving better, from like knee injuries to back injuries, and then they would tell their physios and their chiros, and then I started getting more of a reputation in that, I guess, in that.
Which is great, because that increases your validity like tenfold. Like, because once you get a physio backing you up, because that's the one thing I don't like about mobility, is that unless you have like some type of doctorate degree with it, most people discredit it. Yeah. And I don't like that, because it's like, it's same as a personal training course. Like, I feel like it's very basic. Well, there's a lot of people that I know that are fully certified that I'm like, I wouldn't trust you with tell me anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the same with mobility, whereas a lot of people have access to these courses, but they don't believe in them. Excuse me. But they're fucking phenomenal if you know how to use them with your experiences.
Yeah. The thing is, like I would say in Canada, at least around here, it's just that getting a personal training certificate is not credible. It's an unregulated industry.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to find a good trainer because all you need to do is really memorize what is said in the book, and then you can just take a test. You take like a weekend course, and then you're a personal trainer. So it's just like, okay.
And that's powerful.
Who can you actually trust?
Yeah.
So it's always about who's actually backing this person up. Is it if you just go on social media and it's just some guy posting a picture of his abs and throwing up a motivational quote? Probably not the best. This is some guy that's like...
That's actually, like, you speaking about that, that's actually why I don't post many pictures of myself in the gym. Like, I'm going to now that I get the Believe sponsorship, and I got a lot of things I want to do in the community. But, like, I don't do it this way. Oh, that's easy, because then that's less editing for me, though. Yeah. But, fuck, where were we at? Talking about, talking about how, like, in a weekend you can get the CanFit course. Not CanFit, so I don't even, edit that
out. But, yeah, it's difficult to find someone in this industry that knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And someone that you trust.
So it's... Most people will... most people will usually, I guess, pick their trainer off of what they look like online. Yeah. And even if they do, like, some crazy, I don't know. One of the things that was going around a couple months ago was, like, core challenge. And then you'd have some person do, like, some crazy core exercise that's not really going to do anything. But then people, that's crazy. Like, maybe
anyone listening should not do any of those crazy core exercises, because I've had a hernia before, and that's where you get that stuff from.
It's I don't know. It's like, if you can find someone that knows what they're doing and, like, taking a lot of educational courses and actually studying on their own time, they're more than likely not going to be doing some craziness on social media and whatnot.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's actually a question I want to ask you, because you are one of the notorious trainers around here that has a great fucking name on you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So, like, your name is everything, which is the best part about it, especially now that you're on your own, kind of like branching it. Spencer Boyd, it's not like, hey, here, part of this or part of that. Like, good thing about Movies, it seemed like Movies is like more of a partnership community, more of like, hey, you want to work with us type thing versus work for me, which is great. But for anyone that's like, because I honestly, like, a lot of my journey started with bad coaching. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like how I went left and right, because there's pictures of me at behind the show, like, and there's some angles of me, and I work hard, and I know that, and I work hard. That's actually where I got a lot of my confidence was in my work ethic, because, like, I found out that a lot of people don't show up. I always showed up no matter how I felt. But I remember looking at myself and I was like, if I worked as hard as I know I did, why am I not lean in certain areas? Mm-hmm. And that's what really threw me off, because I'm a realist. That's how I stay humble and stay grounded, because, like, I don't get too crazy in my head. Mm-hmm. So, like, I was like, I know the anatomy of a body. I'm not supposed to look like this. Mm-hmm. Under this is, like, the glutes or the lower back or the rectors or these muscles. And I was like, why is my coach not noticing this? Like, why is no one sitting there being like, yo, like, you did an hour and a half of cardio for 6 weeks straight, eating bird food on a caloric deficit with no carbs, carb depleting yourself, and you still have fat there. And I was mind blown at that. And that's when I really, like, got a bad taste in my mouth for, like, good coaches versus bad coaches. And that's when I started actually digging into, like, so my question after I'll say it is, like, for anyone listening, what would be, like, one or two attributes that you, I guess, would stay away from, or that are like, oh yeah, this is a great trainer? Because you're completely fucking right. People right now are so caught up with Instagram, and there's like you, for example, you'll post very educational, informative content about a mobility aspect that could change somebody's life. Mm-hmm. Like, actually, like, literally, actually, like, if you one yoga pose, like, if you did a frog pose every day for 3 fucking weeks, you would notice a big difference. Like, you know what I mean? But then people will just scroll by yours, let's say, instead of read it all because of the educational component. Yeah. But then there's Joe Blow that's shredded on God knows only what, and then he's like, hey, I lost 30 pounds this week. DM me for da-da-da-da. And they're charging like $800 for these fucking cookie cutter fucking plans. And, like, so, like, what would you say to anyone that's, like, looking or potentially looking, because I actually had a client that asked me, or a potential client asked me the other day, was like, he was going to spend like $2,000 online for this guy that's local. And I was like, I mean, you can if you want, but like the reputation. So I told him to do some search. But what's some good things that people can look for trainers? Because like you said, like people that are looking for educational, but like what does that look like? Do you know what I mean? So they don't scroll by yours, because that's what it looks like.
I don't know if it's like on social media. I still feel like it's still word of mouth. But if you're gonna look on social media, it's honestly like if a trainer's just posting pictures of their abs. Yeah. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like how is that gonna actually benefit the other people? Mm-hmm. If you're gonna actually talk to a coach and see if they're right fit for you, do they listen? If you're just gonna go in there and then like your first day and then you're doing like a crazy exercise, it's just like making you sweat out of control. You're doing like sprints back and forth, stuff like that. It's like, you know what? This person probably doesn't know what they're doing. Okay. And it's just simply because it's like...
See, I'm learning. See?
Yeah. It's just simply because they don't know how you're moving yet.
So they're trying to overcompensate by showing you what they know versus...
it's more like flashy exercises.
Yeah.
Like a lot of... like your endorphins, like it's... if you sweat a lot, like it's that feel-good sensation. It's like the runner's high, result. Right? So like I remember... in the old job, they said that the best way to get a new client is to like make them sweat, make them feel good.
The old way of training.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like that fake, like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like it's marketing.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, you'll know if the coach is good. I would say like the biggest thing is like listening.
Yeah, that's like
if someone has listening skills and they're actually there for you, that's huge. If
what would you say as a customer or potential client? What's something that someone could ask to see if somebody's listening to them? I know that might be a loaded question.
It's a hard question to ask. It's how they respond to the question, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Can they do they repeat that question back to you?
Like, do they make sure that they clarify themselves that they know what you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big one too, because the only thing I would add to that for me personally to answer that question is just to have confidence as a client to say no.
No, 100%.
Because I think there's like my downfall from me being a client and being with a coach was I thought they were God's gift to the world. You know, I thought I'm here, they're the professional, they absolutely know everything.
Yeah.
And I learned very wrong that took a test on a weekend and they just had a lot of hype behind them from social media and this and that. And then, so like I would say, 100, like that's nail on the fucking head, man. It's just like, if you're going to work with anybody, really make sure they're listening to you, because like you're so fucking right, man. Like the company we both worked for, it was crazy. I'd watch people come in and I have chronic lower back pain. And then the trainer would sit there and put them through a fucking CrossFit thing. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. Because me having a lot of injuries, knowing that I was front squatting like 8 weeks ago. And I got too cocky at the end of it, went a little bit too fast down and up. So I shifted a tiny bit. I didn't even have weight on it. I was out for fucking 4 days. Yeah. And it's crazy. So watching that stuff. So, yeah.
It's always, it's I guess another thing is like the workouts that they put you through. It's... like one thing I've noticed at the gym that I used to work at is trainers would always put a barbell on someone's back before they're ready. And it's like a barbell back squat is like, that's a tough exercise.
I don't even do that.
Advanced.
I don't do that.
I haven't done a barbell exercise, like a barbell back squat. I didn't do it for like years just because I was injured.
People don't understand how much like capacity your body needs to move that movement.
Yeah.
Like, If I do any type of back movement like that, I'm literally out for 3 or 4 days with a migraine because of the pressure on my back, stabilizing my scapulas, thoracic stability, and in keeping your core embraced and your hip mobility. Like I'm all fucked in all those areas. Yeah. So like like I couldn't agree with you more. Like it's like I'm still like from my opinion, I feel like even me in the gym right now, like I would say I'm like very very beginner for lower body. Yeah. Like I'm still doing leg extensions. Like I'm still doing like hamstring curls. I'm trying to do like. Because I know what it's like to like people like if you can do slow and steady and keep putting 80 to 95% of your like your expenditure, you'll always win. But then you get these trainers that are like, yo, you just need to feel good. So then you get the kids and the guys and everyone just going out, and then they just like, let me do something that makes me feel good. And feel good workouts, they did great for us for a few years until you tore your quad, until I tore my bench or my chest. And then you're sitting there like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything else. You know what I mean? But when did you know, is there a moment that you knew that, and this, I love this question, but because we're talking about good coaches versus bad coaches, and obviously like you're not going to sit there and gas yourself up, but I'm going to do that for you. And it's like, when did you know that you had confidence that you were a solid and trustworthy good trainer, but you knew you weren't being arrogant?
I would say when a lot of physios and chiros started referring their patients to me. And then
that's so big though.
Yeah,
like that's massive.
Then I was like, okay, maybe I do know something about this. Then I would say, who was I talking to? It might have been my massage therapist or someone else, and they were talking to another person in the industry that was a chiro physio. I was like, oh yeah, I heard about Spencer. Like, he's actually a good trainer.
Yeah.
So then when I heard that other people were saying that I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'm actually doing something good here.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, man. That's unreal. Because I actually, like, my biggest fitness journey with physio was I didn't really like physio a lot, and I had like a lot of stigma, bad negative stigma around it. But then now that I go to the chiropractor, I went to a bunch of different facilities and understanding them. It's the same as good coaching and bad coaching. You got to find good physio and bad physio and areas, stuff like that. But nonetheless, getting recommendations from like the fitness medical professionals is like that's enough to celebrate. Like, you got it.
Yeah.
The next question would be, like, what do you want to do now?
Definitely bridge the gap between like the initial recovery phase from like seeing a physio and chiro to getting back into like either sport or your daily life. Just helping people in that aspect. And then I want to start educating like trainers.
Like trainers type shit.
I just want to keep going down that road. I mean, I've mentored a lot of trainers over my time with that company, and lots of trainers are reaching out to me now, and from client questions to how to build a business now, even though I'm only like a month into this. So it's not like it's...
Well,
like
you're leading the pack, man. You know what I mean? It's motivational. It's inspiring because you're doing this shit that a lot of people won't do.
Yeah.
And that's go out and be like, fuck it, I'm going to take my machete and I'm going to carve my path this way.
Yeah.
I'm done playing the societal champ.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, it's definitely... No, it's rewarding. Like, I want to just make an impact, and I couldn't do so where I used to work. You're kind of more in a box there. But now it's like, do my own thing, really make an impact on people.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I watch a lot of the work you're doing, and I want to be more of a part of it, honestly. And I honestly, like, I'm probably going to ask you to help with coaching for a lot of stuff. I was even to mention that, like, because, like, one of my biggest things was, like, I always felt like people assumed I knew a lot more than I did just because of how I looked and what I did. And it's crazy because, like, I feel very confident in mobility. I feel very confident with, like, nutrition and all that stuff. But when it comes to making programs, fuck no.
Yeah.
Not a lick. I don't know much about it. I'm good at it, but, like, my confidence in that is, like, nothing. Like, I wouldn't even, like, go next to next with any other trainer. Like, I just, like, you know what I mean? So I'll definitely be reaching out for that stuff because I want education, whatever. But, no, I think that's just great changing for the community because, like, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's like changing the stigma around that is more of like changing the idea around physio, chiropractor, and all this stuff as rehab. Like, I find like a lot of it's like you only go to these guys once you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's what I want to change is like going to those people like quarterly or every 6 months is healthy, monthly.
100%.
They kind of like, so it's more of a prehab. You know what I mean? Because like we're talking about like, and I find it's funny, like marketing on social media calls it prehab, but it's actually should be called properly training.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean? So I think that's great. And I had another question about what the community aspect. Can't remember what it was. But what are things you're doing in the community that I know about that maybe I could help with? Because I have some things I want to throw into the community that I'll run by you. And it's probably within the next year I want to do some of this stuff, but I want to bring people that, one, are good people, two, deserve the exposure, and three, if we're all kind of tugging on the same rope, why not all just kind of kind of put it all together? So what is some stuff you got going on with the community? Because I know you do have a lot of stuff you promote that you're doing with other organizations and promotions.
Like, you mean like the Black Wellness Co?
Yeah, because I want to promote some of that stuff. I don't know very much about it. So it's like, if you want to give a little snippet of that, like, because you're involved.
No, it's, I'm actually really happy to be a part of that group. Like, it's something that promotes inclusivity. It's for people that haven't had that opportunity in certain communities for so long, right? Like, for me, growing up, the fitness industry, like, I never saw anyone that looked like me for so long, right? So it's like, if you don't see someone that looks like you, maybe you believe that
you don't belong.
You don't belong, or you can't be that.
Yeah.
So for me to be a part of this group and hopefully, I guess, leave a mark to give people more confidence to actually pursue this, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I got
doing that.
Yeah, I got into this career to help people. It's not about money. There's other careers you could make more money in, but so as long as I can keep doing that, I'll be happy.
Well, I think, I don't know if you want, if today's the day you actually realize it, but you are paving that way. You are creating that way, and you are that person. So that's why I asked earlier, I was like, what do you want to do now? Because I don't think it's a matter of like, well, when I get there and doing it, when I'm da-da-da-da-da. Like, you're doing it all. You're doing the thing.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago, that plan that you written up, you're doing it now. You know what I mean? Like, you are the Spencer Boyd that's paving the way for people that maybe have felt that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have left the incorporated company to pursue your entrepreneurship and create your own path. So you are doing everything you're saying. So it's not a matter of, I want to be and what, like, you know what I mean? It's not like, even that verbiage, you change that up. Because you deserve to have that extra confidence and know that, like, you're part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, I hope I do. It's like, no, like, all those hopes and wants were 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they're here. That's why it's fucking sick.
Yeah. It's funny. My massage therapist the other day said that too. 'Cause I was like really stressed about, okay, what's next? Yeah. So I never like actually appreciate the moment. I have a difficult time being in, like, at the present.
It's always what's next, how can I get there?
So
yeah, no, I that's actually where I'm at too, is like, and that's why I love being on here and yelling at you, like, no, like, appreciate those moments and understand that leaving this episode, you deserve to be more confident in that, because that's just all of our journeys. Like, you are who you are because you don't think you are who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you're just doing what you think is best, and it's genuine and it's honest, and the purpose and the intent is perfect.
Yeah.
That's why you're flourishing the way you are. You're not like, you're like putting your head in the ground, let me gain 5 pounds of muscle and throw a picture on Instagram. Did I get 10 more likes? Like, do you know what I mean? You're like, if I do this for myself and gain this education, maybe the 1 out of 10 people that listen will learn. And that's why we do it. You know what I mean? So we're going to wrap it up in a second, but I got a couple questions for you that I think for anyone that is following you, would love to hear it. So how do you define your success?
Like, how do I know that I have been successful? I guess from where I was in the company and being one of the higher level trainers, and then now moving on and doing my own thing, I think that was a huge success for me. And then I have a business. Like, I shouldn't say that there's always a struggle when you're doing your own thing, but like, it's sustainable. Like, I shouldn't say that I'm not struggling, but it's not like I'm starting from scratch. So like right now, struggle. Like, I'm learning everything I need to learn about entrepreneurship. And fortunately, I have people in this industry that have helped me out. Like Hannah from Movies has helped me out tremendously, like giving me this opportunity. And I mean, and even learning from her and seeing how she's developed a community at her facility. And she's such a team player. Like, she's dope. Like, I haven't met anyone like that is so willing to help other individuals. It's
powerful.
Yeah, like, I mean, life-changing. Yeah, she's been huge for me.
That's dope. That's great. What's the best advice you have ever received? Like, something you just think of, you hear of it, and you're like, it just kind of changed you. Like, if you could remember of any snippet of, like, throughout your life.
I would say you owe you. So it's just about,
that's powerful.
Yeah, you owe it to yourself to be better.
That's it.
Like, it's huge. I used to listen to what's the motivational speaker's name? It just left me. Something Thomas. It's not Eric Thomas, but anyways, he has this speech on YouTube, and it's like 5-7 minutes long. It just talks about you owe you. Like, you need to go to the gym. You say that you don't have time. Okay, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. Go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what? If it's late at night, you got kids, whatever, after the kids go to bed, you owe you. You got to do your own thing, right? You got to keep working because it's just like powerful. Life just slips by. Like, thinking about it, it's Friday already. This whole week's gone.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's like right now it's kind of scary, but this is the youngest we'll ever be.
Fuck, man. Seriously.
So it's literally. Like, yeah.
We'll never get this moment back ever again.
Yeah. So it's huge.
Yeah.
Like, so that was a life-changing YouTube video for me that really opened my eyes.
It's fucking sick. I'll have to put that link of that down before. But that's actually a perfect transition to the next question is, how do you, like, well, what does self-love mean to you? What does self-love mean to you? Self-love.
That's a good question. I'm like, it's definitely about taking care of yourself.
That's a big one.
It is. That's a big one. For me, it's always been something that I've put on the back burner. So I'm just trying to learn to actually take time for myself, enjoy like the small things, like even going to like a new coffee shop and like
that's a big one.
Grabbing a coffee and just chilling there reading a book. Doing more things for yourself and not neglecting yourself. That's the biggest thing. Like even going to see like a psychotherapist to help out.
Like any type of beneficial aspect entirely just for you. I couldn't agree more. Last question before we wrap it up. What do you want to leave behind after your time? You're a very inspirational dude. You got a lot of stuff going on. So what do you want to leave for yourself? What do you want to leave for your family? What mark do you want to leave on the world?
For mental health, it's definitely to destigmatize it because there's still a lot of stigma for it. Make sure that it's okay and make sure that people know that it's okay to get help.
Yep. It's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, having like definitely goals to have a family one day. And I'll never know this, but it's like, will they miss me when I'm gone? So it's
a big one.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's something that I'll never find out. So it's like
you got to work hard to make sure it happens.
Yeah, like it's dope. About making sure that my children one day love me
unconditionally.
I go see them. They actually want to spend time with me. I think that would be huge. I think out of everything in the world, that would be my greatest success.
Bango.
Even though I don't have kids or anything like that, but I mean that would be. I think that's a goal of mine that I would love to have one day.
I couldn't agree with you more because I think that's why we do everything we do, right? That's why we get up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym when nobody knows. That's why we do the educational components to our training that nobody knows. That's why we throw ourselves under the bus, whether insecurities or self-doubts, and cry a little bit more than other men to make sure we get rid of those stigmas and to make sure that when our kids come and run to our arms, they're 100% unconditionally just coming with no negative aspect. And then when we leave, they're like, fuck, like that positive breath is gone. Like, damn.
Yeah.
So no, man, I 100% agree. And honestly, that's a fucking unreal way to end it. And we're done.